My son sent me handmade birthday chocolates, but I gave them to his wife and kids instead. The next morning, he called in panic and whispered, "Dad, please tell me they didn't eat them." My son sent me a box of handmade birthday chocolates. The next day, he called and asked, "So, how are the chocolates?" I smiled and said, "I gave them to your wife and the kids. They love sweets." He went silent. Then he whispered, terrified, "Dad, you did what?" The phone rang at 8:04 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I was sitting in my recliner in my small two-bedroom house in Athens, Georgia, reading the Sunday paper and drinking coffee. I was 70 years old, retired from the post office after 42 years, and I had built myself the kind of life I thought would stay quiet until the end. Nothing fancy, nothing dramatic. Just coffee, newspapers, a paid-off house, and memories. The caller ID showed David's number, my son, my only child. "Morning, son," I answered. "Thanks again for those birthday chocolates. That was really thoughtful of you." "Dad." His voice was shaking. Not a little. Not the kind of tremble you hear when someone has a cold or just woke up too fast. His voice was actually shaking, like he had been running, like he was trying to breathe through panic. "The chocolates I sent you yesterday," he said. "Did you eat them?" I smiled and took another sip of coffee. The box had arrived Saturday afternoon by courier. Fancy Belgian chocolates in a gold box tied with a burgundy ribbon. They must have cost him $200 at least, maybe more. Way too expensive for a retired postal worker's birthday. Way too pretty for an old man like me. "You know I prefer the cheap stuff from Walmart," I said. "I gave them to Jennifer and the grandkids when I stopped by last night. You know how much little Emma loves chocolate." Then there was silence. Dead silence. Horrible silence. The kind of silence that feels like the air has been sucked out of the room. Then David screamed. Not yelled. Screamed. "You did what?" The sound hit me like a physical blow. Pure panic. Pure terror. It was so sharp and so raw that my smile disappeared before I even understood why. "I gave them to your family," I repeated slowly, and my stomach began to drop. "Why, David, what's wrong? Did they eat them?" His voice cracked. "Did Emma eat them? Did Max? Oh God, did they eat them?" "I don't know," I said. My hand tightened around the phone. "I dropped the box off around 7 last night. Jennifer said she'd save them for after the kids finished dinner." "David, what's—" He hung up. Just disconnected. No explanation. No goodbye. The dial tone buzzed in my ear. My hand started shaking. I set my coffee cup down and it rattled against the saucer. I had raised that boy for 32 years. I had changed his diapers after his mother left us when he was 3. I had worked 2 jobs, the post office during the day and stocking shelves at Kroger at night to put him through the University of Georgia. I had watched him graduate. I had stood beside him when he married Jennifer 8 years earlier. And something in that scream, something primal and desperate and terrified, told me everything I needed to know before anyone said it out loud. Those chocolates were not a gift. They were a weapon. I grabbed my car keys with shaking hands, dropped them twice before I got them into the ignition of my 2012 Honda Civic, and drove to David's house on Pinewood Drive. It was normally a 15-minute drive. I made it in 8, running 2 red lights and a stop sign on the way. Jennifer's white Toyota Camry was gone from the driveway. I called her cell phone. It rang 4 times. When she answered, she was crying. "Bill," she sobbed. "Bill, we're at Athens Regional Hospital." My whole body went cold. "What happened, Emma and Max?" she said. "They ate some of those chocolates you brought over, 3 pieces each, before I realized something was wrong. Emma said they tasted weird, like metal, like pennies. The doctors are running tests." My blood turned to ice. I actually felt it freeze in my veins. "What kind of tests?" I asked. "Poison," Jennifer whispered. "They think the chocolates were poisoned." The word did not make sense. It could not make sense. Poison. "Bill, I don't understand," she cried. "Where did you get those chocolates? Who sent them?" I could not speak. I could not form words, because if I said it out loud, if I told her that her husband, the father of her children, had sent poisoned chocolates to his own father, then it would become real. "I'm coming," I finally managed. "I'm on my way. Bill." Her voice broke completely. "Where's David? He's not answering his phone. His office says he called in sick this morning. I need him here. The kids keep asking for their daddy." "I'll find him," I said. "Just take care of the kids. I'll find David." I hung up and sat in my car in David's empty driveway, staring at the house. It was a nice house in a good neighborhood. 2-car garage, fenced backyard, a swing set I had helped David install 3 years earlier. A house he had somehow paid for with money I did not know he had. My name is Bill Morrison. I was born in 1953 and raised in Athens, Georgia. I never made much money, but I never needed much. I lived frugally. I saved what I could. After 42 years at the post office, I had a decent pension, a paid-off house worth maybe $180,000, some savings, and a few stocks my brother had helped me buy. Total estate value, about $420,000. Not rich, not poor. Comfortable. More than enough for an old man living alone. David was my only heir. When I died, he would get everything. We had talked about it once, maybe 2 years earlier, after I had a health scare, kidney stones. At first, I thought it might be cancer. My lawyer, Michael Chin, a good man who had practiced estate law in Athens for 28 years, drew up the papers while I was in the hospital. David had been there, sitting in the chair next to my bed, asking questions and looking at the documents. He had seen the numbers. $420,000. I drove to Carol's house, my ex-wife. We had been divorced for 29 years, but she still lived in the same little house on Baxter Street. She had never remarried. She still babied David like he was 12 instead of 32. Her car was in the driveway. So was David's black Nissan Altima. I did not knock. I just walked in. The door was unlocked. It always was. David was sitting at the kitchen table, with his head and his hands still in his pajamas. It was Sunday morning. He should have been at home with his wife and children. Instead, he was hiding in his mother's kitchen. He looked up when I walked in. When he saw me, he went white as a sheet. We stared at each other for maybe 10 seconds. "Why?" I asked. He laughed. He actually laughed. It was high-pitched and desperate, the sound of a man who had already gone too far and knew there was no way back. "Because I need the money now, Dad," he said. "Not when you finally die of old age in another decade." The words hit me like a hammer. "Money, your inheritance," he said. $420,000. "I saw the papers when you were in the hospital with those kidney stones. The lawyer left them on the table next to your bed." He stood up, and I could see it now. The desperation in his eyes, the wildness, the panic that had been living under his skin. "I'm drowning, Dad," he said. "I'm drowning." "Drowning in what?" "Gambling debts," he snapped. "Online poker, sports betting. I've been doing it for 3 years. I'm down $500,000. I stared at him. "The loan sharks," he continued. "These aren't the kind of guys who negotiate, Dad. They want their money. They've been to the house. They've threatened Jennifer. They've threatened the kids." My stomach dropped again. "You didn't tell me. You didn't ask." "Ask for what?" "Your little nest egg," he shouted. "That wouldn't even make a dent." He started pacing. His hands were flying everywhere. His face was sweaty and twisted. "I mortgaged the house without Jennifer knowing," he said. "Took out credit cards in her name. Borrowed from her parents. I'm out of options. So you tried to murder me." He stopped pacing. He looked at me. And for one moment, just one, I saw something in his eyes that looked like shame. Maybe regret. Maybe the last piece of the boy I had raised. Then it was gone. "It would have been quick," he shouted. "Painless. You're 70 years old. What do you need 400 grand for? To sit in that little house and watch TV? I need it now. I have a family to protect. You almost killed your children." His face twisted. "That was your fault." He slammed his fist on the table so hard that a coffee mug jumped. "You were supposed to eat them," he said, "not share them like some saint. You never eat gifts. You always say they're too fancy. I planned this for weeks." The rage in his voice was worse than the confession. The entitlement was worse than the crime. There was no remorse, not really. Only anger that the plan had gone wrong. You almost killed Emma and Max, I said quietly. Your own children. Because you gave them the chocolates, he snapped. You ruined everything. Carol appeared in the doorway. She had been listening. Her face was pale and shocked. David, she whispered, what have you done? Shut up, Mom. He did not even look at her. He kept his eyes on me. He deserves this, David said. He's lived his life. He's old. He's got nothing to live for except watching us struggle. Something broke inside me then. Not my heart. That had already broken when I realized what he had done. Something deeper. The part of me that was his father. The part that had loved him unconditionally for 32 years. The part that had always made excuses, always softened, always stepped in before consequences could reach him. That part died right there in Carol's kitchen. I'm calling the police, I said. No, you won't, David smirked. He actually smirked. You're too weak, he said. You've always been weak. You've never punished me for anything, never even spanked me when I was a kid. Remember that Mom used to beg you to discipline me, and you never did? He was right. I had been weak. I had wanted to be the good parent, the one David loved. After Carol left, I overcompensated. I let him get away with things. I made excuses. I covered for him. I fixed problems he should have been forced to face himself. I had helped create this monster. You're right, David, I said calmly. I have been weak. I turned and walked toward the door. See, he yelled after me. I told you. You won't do anything. You never do. Go home, old man. Forget this happened. I'll figure out the debt myself. I got in my car and started the engine. I sat there for a moment, with both hands on the steering wheel. Then I called my lawyer. Michael, it's Bill Morrison. I need you to do something for me. Today. Right now. Bill, it's Sunday morning, he said. I'm at church with my son tried to poison me, I said. He sent me chocolates laced with arsenic for my birthday. I gave them to his children. They're in the hospital right now. Silence. Then Michael's voice changed completely. I'm leaving church now. Where are you? I need to hire a private investigator, I said. I need documentation, evidence, everything we can find. And Michael, my voice cracked. I need to change my will today. I'll make some calls, he said. Meet me at my office in an hour. Before going to Michael, I drove to Athens Regional Hospital. I found Jennifer in the pediatric wing on the 4th floor. She was sitting between 2 beds. Emma was on the left, 8 years old with dark hair like her mother. Max was on the right, 6 years old, blonde, like David had been as a child. Both of them had IVs. Both of them looked pale, sick. Too small for those hospital beds. Jennifer stood when she saw me and hugged me tight. She was shaking so badly I could feel it through her arms. What did the doctors say? I asked. They're running toxicology tests, she said. Blood work. They keep asking me where the chocolates came from, what brand they were, whether I noticed anything unusual. She pulled back and looked at me. Bill, what's going on? Where's David? I could not tell her yet, not until I knew for sure. Not until the doctors confirmed it. Not while her children were lying in hospital beds with poison in their bodies. I don't know I lied. It was the first lie I had told her in 8 years of knowing her. A doctor appeared a few minutes later. She was a young woman, maybe 35, wearing a white coat with a stethoscope around her neck. Her name tag read, Dr. Sarah Chen, Pediatric Emergency Medicine. Mr. Morrison, she said, I'm Dr. Chen. I've been treating Emma and Max. What's wrong with them? I asked. She glanced at Jennifer, then at me. Can we speak privately? No, Jennifer said immediately. Whatever you have to say it in front of me. Dr. Chen nodded. The toxicology panel came back, she said. Both children tested positive for arsenic trioxide, significant levels. We've started chelation therapy. That's a treatment that helps remove heavy metals from the bloodstream. They got here quickly enough that the prognosis is good. But, I asked, my voice sounded hollow. Dr. Chen took a breath. But the concentration in their system suggests a very high dosage in whatever they ingested. If they had eaten more than 3 pieces each, or if an adult had eaten a full serving, she paused. It would likely have been fatal. Jennifer made a sound that was not quite a scream. It was worse. Fatal, she repeated. Someone tried to kill them. The arsenic was in the chocolates, Dr. Chin said carefully. We had the hospital run tests on the remaining pieces from the box. Every single chocolate contains lethal levels of arsenic trioxide. This was not accidental contamination. This was deliberate. I sat down hard in one of the waiting room chairs. The police have been notified, Dr. Chen continued. They'll want to speak with you about where the chocolates came from. There will be an investigation. 2 detectives arrived 20 minutes later. Detective James Rodriguez, Athens Clark County Police, Major Crimes Unit, 16 years on the force. Detective Patricia Morrison, same unit, 12 years of experience. No relation to me, just one of those strange coincidences life throws at you when everything else is already falling apart. They interviewed Jennifer first in a private consultation room. She told them about the chocolates, how I had brought them over the night before, how the kids had eaten them before dinner because they could not wait. Then they interviewed me. Mr. Morrison, Detective Rodriguez, asked notebook out and pen ready. Where did you obtain the chocolates? My son sent them, I said. For my birthday. They arrived yesterday by courier. Your son, David Morrison, Detective Morrison asked. The children's father. Yes. And you gave them to his family? I don't like fancy chocolates, I said. I thought they would enjoy them more. Rodriguez and Morrison exchanged a look. Mr. Morrison, Detective Morrison said carefully, are you aware that your son called you this morning? That he asked about the chocolates? My stomach dropped. How do you know that? We pulled phone records, Rodriguez said. Your son called you at 8:04 a.m. The call lasted 47 seconds. Then he immediately called his wife's cell phone 4 times. She didn't answer because she was already on her way to the hospital. Rodriguez leaned forward. What did your son say on that call? I told them everything. The panic in David's voice. The terror when I said I had given the chocolates away. The way he screamed when he realized Emma and Max might have eaten them. Mr. Morrison, Rodriguez said, I need to ask you something directly. Do you believe your son sent you poisoned chocolates? The room went silent. Even the background hospital noises seemed to fade. Yes, I said. I believe he tried to kill me. Jennifer gasped from the doorway. We all turned. She had been listening. No, she whispered. No, that's not possible. David wouldn't. I spoke with him this morning, I said, at his mother's house. He confessed. Jennifer's face went empty. He has gambling debts, I continued. $500,000. He needs my inheritance. He said it would have been quick, painless. He said I'm old and don't need the money. Jennifer collapsed into a chair and started sobbing, her shoulders shaking, her hands over her face. He almost killed his own children, I said, and my voice was flat and empty. And his only concern was that I ruined his plan by giving the chocolates away? Detective Rodriguez stood. We need to bring your son in for questioning, he said. Do you know where he is now? He was at his mother's house, I said. 2847 Baxter Street, Carol Morrison. We'll send units there now. He turned to Jennifer. Mrs. Morrison, I know this is difficult, but we'll need you to come to the station to give a formal statement. I want a divorce, Jennifer said suddenly. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. Bill, I'm filing for divorce. Today. I don't care what it takes. I'm taking the kids and we're leaving. He is never coming near them again. 3 hours later, David was arrested at Carol's house. Attempted murder. 2 counts of child endangerment. Possession of a controlled substance. The police found more arsenic trioxide powder hidden in his car. He fought them, screamed, claimed I was lying, said I was a senile old man making up stories. Then they played the recording of his 8:04 a.m. phone call, the one where he panicked after realizing I had not eaten the chocolates. They had subpoenaed it from his cell carrier. His lawyer was court-appointed, a young guy fresh out of law school, and he told David to stop talking. But David could not help himself. In the interrogation room, according to what Rodriguez told me later, David kept insisting it was my fault. He said I ruined everything by being generous. He said I should have eaten the chocolates myself. He never once asked about his children. Michael Chen worked fast. By Tuesday, we had a full report from the private investigator he hired. Her name was Patricia Walsh, a former Atlanta PD detective with 23 years in law enforcement, now running her own private investigation firm. She found everything. Receipts from Artisan Chocolates of Atlanta, a high-end chocolate shop in Buckhead. David had purchased a custom box 2 weeks earlier and paid $340 in cash. Text messages between David and someone named Rick, discussing solving the problem and making it look natural. Rick turned out to be Ricardo Martinez, a known loan shark who was already under investigation by the FBI. Bank records showed that David had mortgaged the house for $180,000 without Jennifer's knowledge. Forgery. She had not signed those documents. Credit cards had been opened in Jennifer's name. $47,000 in debt she knew nothing about. Online gambling accounts showed losses of $523,000 over 3 years. He's been living a double life, Michael said, spreading the documents across his conference table. Secret accounts, secret debts, criminal associations. And when it all came crashing down, he decided you were the solution. He's my son, I said. The words felt empty. Michael looked at me. He stopped being your son when he put arsenic in chocolate and tried to kill you. The arraignment was Friday. David pleaded not guilty. His lawyer argued entrapment, coercion, and mental incompetence. The prosecutor, Assistant District Attorney Jennifer Walsh, no relation to the private investigator, had 18 years prosecuting major crimes in Georgia. She presented the evidence, the phone recordings, the chocolate receipt, the text messages, and the arsenic powder found in David's car. Judge Marcus Chin, Superior Court, 26 years on the bench, set bail at $500,000. David could not make it. He sat in Clark County Jail awaiting trial. Jennifer filed for divorce on Monday. Emergency custody of the children. A restraining order preventing David from any contact. She moved herself and the kids in with her parents in Watkinsville. She changed her phone number, changed the locks, told the kids their daddy was sick and getting help. Emma asked me once, "Papa Bill, is Daddy going to jail?" "Yes, sweetheart, because he hurt us. Because he made very bad choices."
I don't want to see him anymore. You don't have to.
3 weeks after the poisoning, everything was ready. Michael had drawn up the new estate documents. The private investigator had compiled a comprehensive report. The prosecutor had built her case. David had been calling me from jail collect calls 10 or 15 times a day. I never answered. I let them all go to voicemail. The messages started apologetic. "Dad, I'm so sorry. I wasn't thinking straight. Please help me. Please post bail." Then they turned angry. "This is your fault. You should have just eaten the chocolates. Now my life is ruined." Then they became desperate. "Dad, please, I need help. The guys I owe money to, they're threatening Mom. They know where she lives. Please just pay them. Use my inheritance. It's going to be mine anyway." I saved every message. I forwarded them all to the prosecutor. Then I decided I needed closure. I needed to show David, and maybe myself, that I was done being weak. So I invited everyone to Sunday dinner 3 weeks after the poisoning. Emma and Max were home from the hospital, still recovering but healthy. Jennifer agreed to come. Even Carol came, despite her protests that I was being too hard on David. I prepared dinner myself. Pot roast, mashed potatoes, green beans, David's favorite meal growing up. They arrived at 5:30 p.m. Jennifer helped the kids wash their hands. Carol set the table. Everyone tried to act normal, but the tension was suffocating. We sat down. We said grace, a habit from when the kids were smaller. We started eating. Then I stood up. "I have an announcement to make." Emma looked up from her mashed potatoes. "What is it, Papa Bill?" "I'm giving away my inheritance." Carol set down her fork. "Bill, this isn't the time." To the kids I said, Emma and Max, "In trust until they're 25. Jennifer's hand flew to her mouth. The house, the savings, the stocks, the pension benefits, all of it. $423,000 split equally between Emma and Max Morrison. I pulled out the documents, the new will, the trust documents, all signed and notarized. "These are your children," I said, looking at Jennifer, then at Carol. "The children David tried to murder for money." Jennifer grabbed the papers, read them, and started crying. "Bill, you can't," she said. This is too much. It's already done, I said. Michael filed the paperwork yesterday, legal and binding. Emma looked confused. Papa, Bill, why would Daddy try to hurt us? I knelt beside her chair and kept my voice as steady as I could. Because he wanted my money, sweetheart, and he was willing to hurt people to get it. Then I pulled out the rest of it. The hospital report showing arsenic poisoning, the toxicology results, the police report, the evidence the private investigator had gathered, the receipts from the chocolate shop, the text messages to the loan shark, the phone recording where David had panicked when I told him I had given away the chocolates. I spread it all across the dining room table. I let Jennifer see it. I let Carol see it. I made it real. David sent me chocolates laced with arsenic for my 70th birthday, I said, clearly and calmly. He intended to kill me so he could inherit my estate and pay off his gambling debts. When I gave those chocolates to his children instead, he didn't rush to the hospital to save them. He went to his mother's house to hide. And when I confronted him, he blamed me for ruining his plan. Jennifer was sobbing now, full-body sobs. Emma and Max looked terrified. Carol shook her head. He's still your son, Bill, she said. He made a mistake. He needs help, not he needs prison, I interrupted. He tried to commit murder. He's a danger to everyone around him. You can't do this to him, Carol said. He's family. No, I said. He stopped being family the day he chose $400,000 over his children's lives. The doorbell rang. I had called Detective Rodriguez that morning. I told him I had more evidence. I told him about the voicemails. I asked him to come by at 6 o'clock. I opened the door. Rodriguez stood there with Detective Morrison and 2 uniformed officers behind them. Mr. Morrison, Rodriguez said, "We have a few follow-up questions about your son's case." "Come in, please," I said. "I have people here who need to hear this." They walked into the dining room. Jennifer stood up. Carol went pale. Mrs. David Morrison Rodriguez said, addressing Jennifer, "We want to inform you that additional charges are being filed against your husband. Based on evidence gathered from his jail calls and the ongoing investigation, we're adding criminal conspiracy and witness tampering. He's been making calls to known associates, trying to intimidate witnesses." Jennifer lowered her eyes. "He called me," she said quietly. 3 days ago from jail. He told me if I testified against him, I'd regret it. I recorded it." "We'll need that recording," Rodriguez said. She pulled out her phone and played it. David's voice filled my dining room, cold, threatening. He told his wife to remember what happened to Rats. He told her the loan sharks knew where her parents lived. The children heard their father's voice. Max started crying. Emma hugged her mother. Based on this recording and the existing evidence, Rodriguez continued, the district attorney is prepared to seek the maximum sentence. 25 years for attempted murder with additional time for the child endangerment charges, the conspiracy, and the witness tampering. Carol made a sound like she had been hit. "That's insane," she said. "You're destroying his life." Ma'am, Rodriguez said firmly, "Your son destroyed his own life when he put poison in chocolate and sent it to his father. Our investigation shows clear premeditation, clear intent, and clear lack of remorse. The only reason we're not charging him with attempted murder of his own children is because he didn't know they would eat the chocolates. But the child endangerment charges are serious enough." Then he turned to me. "Mr. Morrison, the trial is set for 6 weeks from now. The prosecutor will need you to testify. Are you prepared to do that?" "Yes," I said. "I'll testify." "Even though he's your son?" I looked at the evidence spread across my table. I looked at Jennifer's tear-streaked face. I looked at Emma and Max, the 2 children who had almost died because their father wanted money more than he wanted them alive. "He stopped being my son the day he tried to kill me," I said. 6 weeks later, the trial began. It lasted 4 days. The prosecutor presented overwhelming evidence: the chocolate receipt, the arsenic powder found in David's car, the text messages, the phone recordings, my testimony, Jennifer's testimony, the hospital record showing Emma and Max had been poisoned. David's lawyer tried to argue temporary insanity. He tried to claim the gambling addiction had made David desperate. He tried to paint him as a victim of predatory lenders. The jury did not buy it. They deliberated for 3 hours, guilty on all counts. The sentencing hearing was 2 weeks later. Judge Chin looked at David with pure disgust. "Mr. Morrison," he said, "you attempted to murder your own father for money. When that plan failed and your children were poisoned instead, you showed no remorse, no concern for their welfare, only anger that your plan had been disrupted. You are a danger to society and to your own family." He sentenced David to 20 years in prison for attempted murder, plus an additional 5 years for child endangerment to run consecutively. 25 years total. David would be 57 years old when he got out. His children would be adults. His wife would have moved on. His life as he knew it would be over. As they led him away in handcuffs, David looked at me one last time. "I hope you're happy," he said. His voice was flat and empty.
I'm not happy, I told him. But your children are safe, and they'll have money for college when they turn 25. Money you tried to steal. That's justice. They'll forget about me, he said. Probably, I said, but they'll remember what you did. And they'll never let anyone hurt them for money again. The guards took him away. I walked out of that courtroom with Jennifer beside me. The world outside looked the same as it always had, but nothing was the same anymore. David was gone. The boy I had raised, the man I had protected, the son I had excused for 32 years, was gone behind concrete and steel because he had chosen greed over blood. In the years that followed, Jennifer rebuilt her life. Eventually, she remarried a nice man, an accountant, a steady man who was good with the kids. Emma and Max started calling him Dad. They still called me Papa Bill. After the sentencing, I drove back to my house, the same small house where I had almost died without ever knowing why. The house that was now in a trust for my grandchildren. I would be allowed to live there until I died. After that, it would belong to Emma and Max, along with everything else I had saved over 42 years. It was not much compared to the wealth some people had, but it was enough. Enough to send 2 kids to college. Enough to give them a start in life. Enough to become something other than blood money. Carol called me that night. "I hope you're satisfied," she said. "Your own son is going to prison." "My son tried to kill me," I said. "Then he almost killed his children. He brought this on himself." "You could have forgiven him," she said. "You could have helped him." I helped him for 32 years. I made excuses. I enabled him. Look where that got us. He's still your blood. Blood doesn't mean anything when it's poisoned with arsenic and greed. Then I hung up and blocked her number. She had chosen David over the truth. Let her live with that choice. I am writing this 2 years after the poisoning. Emma is 10 now, Max is 8. They are thriving. Therapy helped. Time helped. Distance from their father helped. They ask about him sometimes. Is Daddy still in prison? Yes. Will he ever come out? In many years, when you're much older. Will we have to see him? Only if you want to. We don't want to. Then you won't have to. David writes letters sometimes. To Jennifer, to the kids, to me. Jennifer throws them away unopened. She got a restraining order that extends to written correspondence. The kids do not know he writes. They do not need to know. The money sits in trust, growing invested in index funds. By the time Emma turns 25, her half will be worth maybe $300,000. Enough to buy a house, start a business, live without debt. Max's half will be the same. They will never have to struggle the way I struggled. They will never have to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet. They will never have to choose between eating and saving. That is what David's greed bought them. Freedom. People ask me if I am angry, if I hate my son. I don't. Hate requires caring. Anger requires connection. David severed that connection when he dissolved arsenic into Belgian chocolate and mailed it to me with a birthday card that said, "To the best dad in the world." He wanted $400,000 badly enough to kill for it. Instead, his children got every penny, and he got 25 years to think about what he lost. I call that justice. He said I was too weak to punish him, too soft to stand up for myself, too pathetic to fight back. He was right about who I had been, but he forgot that even weak men have limits. And when you cross those limits,
When you poison your own father and accidentally poison your own children, weakness becomes something else. It becomes strength. It becomes justice. It becomes a 70-year-old postal worker standing in a courtroom and watching his son go to prison. David wanted my inheritance so badly, he was willing to kill for it. Now his children have it all, and he will never touch a single dollar. The boy I raised died the day he chose money over his children's lives. I am just glad I lived long enough to make sure everyone knew it.